Hello, welcome to Angry, Annoyed, and Amused podcast. You're on Mike. So next to me is Matt.
What's up?
Over there's Johnny.
Yo, yo.
Across the table is the other Mike.
Hello.
We're back.
Yeah, that felt more natural. I think I did it right, though. I think I skipped Matt. And I did the Johnny in... I say sitting next to me, over there's Johnny.
Yeah.
I think I said over there's Johnny, or did I say sitting next to me is
know.
Johnny, and across the table is...
It doesn't
Whatever,
matter.
it doesn't really matter.
He did his thing wrong.
I know, I was just wondering what I said. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. All right, so I'm going to take the... I know we were just, before we got on air, talking about... I guess blanketly like Sharia law and what that means. But I have a more important or pertinent question, I guess. And none of us are Muslims, unless... No, none of us are Muslims.
A little bit.
I know a couple very nice guys. I like the ones
I like
that
the
I know.
Muslims.
No issues with that. Sharia law, from what I've heard of it, I don't approve of. My question would be to what extent, they call it the no true Scotsman, right? It's like a logical fallacy, which is like, if I say Christians believe this, and then you say I'm a Christian, I don't believe that, and then I say, well, you're not a real Christian, right? I feel like Sharia law falls into that category where it's like, we're in New York, Mamdani just got elected. He has not said he's going to invoke Sharia law. I don't think he is. But the argument from like people who are worried about that, because it's a political code, or not political, it's a legal code that is within, right? Like Christians don't really have the same. We have a moral code, right? And then laws are laws of a land. They've never had the same. They've never been a political system in that sense. I'm not sure. I'm less sure about Judaism. I think they have more like rules that are closer to like a political, but I don't think they have like laws. It's not the same. It's not built into a legal system the way that Sharia law and Islam is intertwined. My question would be, and this I don't know, how much of it is truly like, yes, that is what would happen because the majority of Muslims believe in it, versus like, no, those countries, like, I guess I'm spinning a bit. Let me put it like this. All the countries that are majority Muslim, the vast majority of those are governed by Sharia law to at least some extent. Some have like civil courts and stuff, but generally Sharia law is the law of the land. But then people in America would have you believe that that's not the case. Like, they don't have to do that, right? But to me, it seems like when Islam would come to power, it would carry with it Sharia law. That's my take. Right, and I think that's a reasonable. I think that's a reasonable judgment to make about having more in politics. Like Dearborn, right, is an example. Michigan.
Forget Dearborn in Europe.
Yeah.
In
Parts.
United
Like
Kingdom.
London's a big one, right?
Yeah,
I've
but
heard.
not United Kingdom. But there are places in the United Kingdom. My understanding, I don't know for sure. I only see what I see, but there are places where they're practicing Sharia law, right? Where people don't go into those areas anymore because it's totally Muslim run and it's.
But like, which aspects? Like, what are they doing?
That's
that
what I was
makes them
gonna
say
ask.
that they're
What
governing
part of the
London
laws?
with Sharia law.
All the things that are pertinent to Sharia law,
Like
right?
what?
The chimes,
So,
the bells.
the punishments that they give for dissenting on the religion, or everything that they enforce, right, in Sharia law is enforced in those areas.
Like how? I'm asking. Like, what specifically are they doing, and what would be the crime, and what's the punishment?
But to non-Muslims?
Like, yeah, like what specifically is
Adultery,
happening?
they stoned the girl to death.
But was she a Muslim?
Did they
They also
that really
marry
happened? They really did that?
12-year-olds and 10-year-olds. That's all part of their religion. And all of that stuff is legit for them to do.
That's happening in London.
In areas in London, is my understanding. It is happening now.
I think we have someone looking it up.
Yeah.
But is that just the Muslims, though?
I was looking
AI
up.
summaries.
Just Muslims.
Okay.
From
Just
Google.
Muslims.
Generally, they kind of just grab whatever website.
But how is the Sharia law overriding the,
Right, or just
the
keep,
laws?
Or just keep reading it.
What?
Good question.
No, because that kind of AI overview kind of like pulls from random links.
They didn't hear me.
It's usually not that.
I'm gonna keep reading. I didn't hear you.
My
Yeah,
question was, how is
usually
Sharia law overriding the law of
Yeah,
the land?
that's what I'm wondering. Because all I saw,
Well, I think the
saw people
argument
saying
would
that,
be
and it was just like people
laws
were
don't
praying.
really matter
Saying-
in the sense of like, if we decided to buy up this block, or we owned this block, and on this block we enacted a dress code, right? If cops don't bother us, we can do whatever we want as long as we're within the power in our block.
Right, but if you
Right.
stone somebody for not wearing
Right,
the
that's
clothes,
what I'm saying. Like,
Right, you think they would be arrested. I'm assuming what he's saying is that there are areas, I don't know if they're stoning people to death in the streets.
well, there was
Right.
one person.
well, what are they doing? Is my question.
I know. I'm just giving the example. It's like if there's an area where there's, let's say, like there's a bunch
Right.
of in New York. There's a
If
bunch
there's
of
complacency from the
there's a
from
bunch
the
of
law
neighborhoods that
enforcement, you can get
are
away with whatever
that
you
are
want.
culturally homogenous, right?
Yeah.
If that area is culturally homogenous and they all agree in Sharia law,
Right.
Sharia law now exists there,
Yeah.
right?
I mean, there's plenty of.
If one person who does not agree, like let's say, I don't know, head coverings, right? If there's one person in that area who doesn't wear a head covering,
right.
right? She may be ridiculed,
Right.
yelled at, maybe physically threatened. Maybe they don't stone her to death, but physically threatened.
Yeah.
And then she may go to the cops and say, I was walking through this area and a crowd of people came up to me and shouted at me and threatened me until I put a head covering on.
Right.
Right. And those cops may say, that's not really against the law.
Right.
Right. We're not going to arrest 8 guys for yelling at you. But that would be an example of people enforcing a separate law code.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. I think that's what I feel like that's the argument. I saw, I didn't read an article about it. I was just reading before I got pulled off to this, but there was a woman I saw she was being interviewed at some thing in the UK, and she was saying she lived in one of these areas in the UK that, just like a lot of Muslim people moved in, and then because there was so many of them, they decided in that area to enforce their version. She said she had to move. She said she would walk around with her dogs, and apparently, I didn't know this, but apparently in Islam, dogs are like not cool. Like
Really?
they don't like dogs.
They're not like pets. Yeah.
They're not pets. They're like, it's like not
They're
whatever.
animals.
They don't like dogs. So she was like
'Cause they're
walking around
filthy.
with 2.
They're not.
Yeah, she was like walking around with 2 dogs, and she would be threatened. She said somebody tried to kick her dog, like things like that. And it's like could she call the cops and they go, yeah, we're gonna go through this entire area and do what?
So they do
You know what I
have-
mean? Like,
they
they
do have
can't-
areas where they have Sharia councils. They do enforce Sharia law to a certain extent, as long as it is
Right. I
within-
doubt they're stoning people.
as
To
long
death.
as
The cops would probably
it's
step
within
in
the
for
laws
that.
of the country.
I
I'm
agree.
asking like what.
But
Like what I just said. I mean, Matt, would you be okay
but-
if in a certain area you have to?
I understand. I understand your point. I'm asking for specifics. Like I'm saying, like what specific, right? So obviously it has to be within the bounds of the law of London, right? So like what specifically are they enforcing? Is what I
I'm
wanna
saying
know.
I
In
gave
London.
you an example.
In
You're saying I
London.
have to say
Right.
this thing happened in London, right?
Correct. That's
I'm
what I
saying
want to know.
that Sharia law, right?
Yeah.
Women have to have their heads covered. Yes.
I understand. I'm
So, but
asking.
that's-
So
but
if
that's
I'm
part of
giving
it,
you
Matt.
an
That's
example, I'm saying
example.
I'm asking for a specific.
That's a specific
actually
example.
happening. Like there's evidence of it.
he wants
happening
one
in
specific
London.
thing happening.
in London.
He's hemming and hawing because he's trying to say like it's not really
I
happening.
really
want to know if
happening, I
I
know.
want to
Right.
know if it's
and
really
I don't
happening.
care. I'm saying, would you be okay with that? I don't care if it really happened.
All right.
I'm saying, would you be okay
No,
if
of
in the
course not.
community
If you were
they
using
say,
fear-
hey, you're in our neighborhood, you have to do
If
the
you're
thing that
using-
we
If
do.
you're using like mafia tactics to scare people into following your rules, then no, of course not. That's
Okay.
illegal.
Says the Italian.
Well, they used to do that. You know,
Yeah,
that is the
I know
thing.
the black hand better than most, and yeah, of course it's illegal. I would not be okay with that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what's going to go hand in hand in this, and I'll try to find one for you. But this is going to be one of those things where, like, you can find people saying that it's happened, but there's going to be no article that's
Yeah,
printed that says
exactly.
of course not.
this woman was
Because,
this
Mike,
woman was spit on in the street
so-
because she didn't have a head covering in this area. Because they can't report on that because they're not, because that would be improper.
Right.
That would be, oh no, you're saying Islam's bad, or you're saying Muslim
I don't
people
know.
are bad.
You're not going to
I
find.
mean, Matt, I
stuff.
think that's kind of
But
obvious.
it's
would
like,
be-
it's
But
the
like,
same
if I
thing.
found a person saying it, you would say, "Is that real?"
But it's the
I think
same
it would
thing. It's
be
the
Right?
same
But like, I
thing.
can find a
But
woman
it's the same
saying
thing with
it.
the mafia, right? They
Yeah.
do something wrong, right? Because that's their law. It's okay for them to kill somebody because they did something out of line, right? They do it, whether they get away with it or not, who knows? But there are things that they want to follow. They want where they live to be under their rules. So they, right away, they put Sharia councils in to enforce those things. So maybe it's not the violent stuff, Matt, or maybe it is. And maybe nobody finds out about it. I don't know.
Curious. I'm just trying to find
Right.
out what it is.
So look it up. You got a
already-
phone?
I'm already having a hard
Look it
time.
up. Try and find the story.
I'm already having a hard time.
I mean, listen.
with the Hasidics.
Again, if you
I
go
can't deal
back
with them.
and you read up on
Next level.
Muslims over time, that's what they've done to take over lands, right?
What?
they come in, they slowly take over like
Oh, yeah.
that. They,
That's how
they
you're supposed
slowly
to do it.
start
That's how
to
everyone
enforce
does
their.
it, though.
That's how you
That's
do
how
it.
everyone takes
That's
over.
what I'm-
No, some people
No.
take it over violently
People
and
conquer.
quickly. You know,
Well, yeah, I guess
they
right.
come
And they
in
used to do that
and
too.
they start small pockets,
yeah.
and it grows and it grows, and then they get their politicians in, so then they start to move things towards more in their direction. I mean, that's just what they do. If that's what they're doing, that's fine. That's
They definitely learned that
You know.
system from the Hasids.
I mean,
Well,
this isn't. I guess
they all
this
stay
is.
together, but
I'm gonna try to find a
Yeah.
specific.
Well, they legitimately
do.
have police forces.
they
Oh.
do too. Well, ambulances and
Yeah.
police.
Yeah, they have fire.
Yeah.
The fire departments, everything now.
Civics.
Yeah, they
And
take.
so do the Islams. They do the same thing.
How come they're allowed to
They
all
take
do
care
it?
of their own communities.
How come they're all allowed to do it? It would be racist if anyone else did it. Like, I can't go to a Hasid's fire department and say, hey, I
No,
want
but
to
you
join.
could make your own local neighborhood.
You're
fire
not.
department
You
if
can't.
want. Of course,
No, you can't.
You
No,
do a
you can.
volunteer
You can
No.
do
fire
a volunteer fire department.
No, it's.
Not a police department, though. I don't know how they get away
I
with
think
that
you
one.
have to
They,
have.
like, give
Well, no,
parking
I can
tickets and stuff.
try, but it has to be approved by the city and all that.
They
The
would.
Hasidic ones, I don't think are approved.
They have to.
No, they probably are approved.
Well,
Yeah, I would say they are, because the thing about like statistically about Jewish people in general is they are very active in the community, and so they are able to get a lot of things like that done. Like they're all, you know, they have support for
Right.
local representatives, and like they go out and vote, and they actually try and make change through the law. They're very efficient at that. And so
I mean, Matt, if you can take, this is one article, right? There's apparently Sharia courts have been in the UK since the 1980s.
yeah.
Theresa May, who was Theresa May, you guys know that name, right? Wasn't she the secretary, Home Secretary? I don't know. I don't understand the UK
I honestly
stuff.
don't care. I just wanted a specific example of what was going on. So I have an
Well,
idea
so-
of the scope, right? Because like a lot of the things
Right,
I hear
right,
about
right,
Sharia
right.
law are violent. I know that stuff's not going on.
Yeah.
That was what my example
Fair
was
enough.
for.
This
like,
is
just
within.
for
This
the
is
scope
saying
of what's happening.
that there's no they're not like violently killing somebody for doing something on the street.
I assume that would be big news.
Right, right. But this is saying that they do these councils, right? Which in this article is saying it's particularly aimed at women who are either like Muslim in Muslim relationships or white women who marry into a Muslim relationship because the man is accountable to this court, right?
Right.
It says Sharia councils support wife beating, ignored marital rape, and allowed forced marriages, right? So this would point to like them not going to the general, like, I guess the like wife beating, right? That you don't have to bring to a cop, right? Like you can just it can happen behind closed doors.
Yeah, of
but then the Sharia council, because they're more in control of their small community, right? They can bring it up there, but then they'll say, "Well, that's okay. He's allowed to."
Right.
right.
Right. And so I don't agree generally with like a parallel court system at all. Forget about it taking over and obviously nobody should be able to enforce separate laws. But like even that, I feel like there's an issue there, even if they're saying like, I don't think there should be a separate court for Italians. Right? Like Italians shouldn't go amongst ourselves.
We'll
We're
have-
going to handle
we'll decide.
we'll handle things how we handle things. And then you guys get whatever like we miss or like whatever.
Yeah,
you know what I
if
mean? That's
if
just
get
so
whacked.
weird.
They do have
Yeah, just-
they do note some incidents where they have Muslim patrols going around and going after people for drinking, telling them they can't drink. Not Muslim people, just any people in the street,
Right.
trying to tell them they can't drink, they can't do certain things. That so it is happening, maybe on a small scale, of course.
I guess my
don't
question
think
is like,
this
does
will
it,
Start
does it
small
have to
scale
happen?
and then they build up.
That's the thing. I'm wondering. I don't know this, but it feels like it would. Like it feels like if enough people in an area are Muslim, they now have to do Sharia law
Right.
don't
because
think
that's
that's
their
true.
higher. But that's the higher call. Like
Yeah, I think so.
that's always going to be that because like who
Yeah, because
is
if
the
you go to
most-
their country, you have to
to do the
you,
but
have
I
to,
think-
you have to follow their
Yeah,
culture.
But you got to like, okay. Right.
No, right?
No, correct.
Right.
But you have to remember that it's two different things to be of a faith and of a nationality.
Right.
Right. So you're saying their country, but those are Islamic countries as in their Muslim majority, and
Right.
Islamic countries as in their that's their what's the word for it?
culture.
Yeah, correct. Like that would be their culture. So like those are things to separate, right? It's it's similar to Judaism in that sense,
Right.
right? You could practice Judaism and not follow all of the rules,
Right.
right? But if you live in Israel, like you have to go to the army. You know what I mean? But that doesn't mean that like Jewish
Right.
people in general feel like they have to go, right? So like, if I'm not mistaken, like Sharia law wasn't like made up from like it was made up by people. It wasn't like called on by Muhammad or anything. Like, it was.
No, I
just,
believe it comes from their holy
I'm
books.
gonna say no. Like I think
The
it was
Hadith or
I
whatever.
think it was like an
right, Matt,
interpretation.
but
That's
I
what I'm
think-
trying to find out. Cause
Yeah, but I'm
think-
saying
I
all
think-
of the
Matt,
countries
I
that
think
are.
what you're saying is it's not. It's not.
It's the
rampant,
no true
not a
Scotsman
big
thing.
deal. It's.
I'm saying it's not holistic.
I'm just
Like,
saying it is happening.
Cool,
Even
holistic.
in Houston, there was another incident of an imam,
Imam.
Imam.
Imam. IMAM.
going around to Muslim-owned stores. Now, these people were living U.S. lives. They were obviously selling alcohol, tobacco, lottery tickets, and all of that stuff. Being told to take it out. You have 30 days to get rid of it. You have to comply with Sharia law. It's a, what would you call it? Strong arm tactic
Yeah.
for them to
black
start to
hand.
enforce,
It's like
Sharia
Yeah.
law. It's not, it's
the
legal
mafia.
for them to do what they're doing.
Well, it's safe to say they'll
the
never take
mafia.
over New
You know.
York, though.
They won't use that?
No.
It seems like they might.
I think
yeah.
they could.
No. New York is too much.
But that's
Oh.
my
Really?
that's the kind of point that I was trying to make is not so much that it's not an issue, but all of that has to be based on the assumption that bringing rule from Islamic countries to here, as much as it may be happening, I'm taking that, right, could also just be an Islamic mob and not right. So like the idea would be like kind of what you're saying is
Well,
that
the issue though is that all
basis
of those
it is,
countries
like,
do it. That's why I don't
No, right,
feel
right, right.
that separation.
I'm asking-
Italy does not have the same.
not have-
Italy isn't
right.
governed by the mob, so
No,
you
no,
can.
no.
It's very easy to go. Well, when the mob takes over one neighborhood in Brooklyn, that's not an Italian thing.
Right.
No,
that's
I
the
get
mob.
that. I get-
But when
I get
every country that's majority Muslim does the same thing,
Right.
and then Muslim people here are being elected into political office,
Right.
and not all of them, but some of them are saying, yeah, certain tenets of it are I believe in.
Yeah.
That to me feels like a reasonable assumption to go, wait, are you pro this law? Like this political,
I
or not
agree.
political is the wrong word, this legal
Yeah.
apparatus that is incompatible with our legal apparatus.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you know what I mean? Like, I just use Dearborn because that's like I think that's like the most Muslim majority. You know what I mean? Like they have the prayer call 5 times a day.
Yep.
Is that like that alone, right? Is that so? Once you live in a majority Muslim area, you just have to listen to that.
Right.
They're allowed to just blast that. I mean, there are noise ordinances right everywhere, but that's different because it's a religious thing. We're like, is that religious freedom?
Right.
Like to blast a sound over the thing? You know what I mean? Over
Yeah.
speakers
That would
from
be a-
the.
that would
And I
be a
could even
Supreme
argue
Court
that
thing.
one.
Right, but they
Mike,
do
I-
that.
I
That
could
is
even
actually
argue that one.
happening.
We ring
Yeah.
bells on churches on Sunday, and I know it's a different thing because that whole call to prayer thing is different. But I could even argue that's not even one of the worst ones. But when they're
Well, I'm
to
just saying
take
it's
over
clearly-
pockets of areas that they're moving in that direction,
Right.
to take over. Right, the mafia doesn't necessarily look to take over. They run
Mm-hmm.
things in the underground, right? They try and, I mean, the way they used to be anyway. They try and, well, obviously they are staying underground now because
Well, yeah, because
everybody thought they weren't even operating until that NBA
Yeah,
thing
the
happened.
NBA
They were like,
indictment.
we didn't even know the mafia was still around. But no, I mean, it's something that they've done over time. If to follow their religion is almost their governance, and they bring it here with them,
Yeah.
right? And whether it's in line with our laws or not, and you could say, you go, again, in their society, in their religion, they can marry a 10-year-old, right? We can't do that here. But what's to stop them from doing it? Like you said, on the block.
Right.
Nobody's going to know. If nobody says anything,
Yeah.
nobody's going to know.
Right.
that-
It's the daughter of another
that's-
family that
Right.
lives in that neighborhood.
That's
Who
why
thinks it's okay?
Like, oh, it's
because
our
they come
friend.
from the same
They
That's
moved
why
place.
I'm
in.
trying to find out
so-
where it came from because
So and then it just grows and grows and grows.
I think that's what I'm trying to figure out where it came from because
I think it was the
again,
Hadith.
all of that has to I'll get into that in a minute.
Oh.
All of that all rests on the assumption that by virtue of being Muslim, you have to, or at least are inclined to, follow Sharia law, and not that it's just the national law of certain nations, right? So that's what I'm
Trying to find out if
trying
it
to
is
find
separate
out,
or
right?
not.
If it's separate or not.
Right. I think it is for one
think
particular
If you
reason.
follow Islam, right, you're expected to follow all those.
I don't
tenets
think
of the
that's
law,
true.
Right?
No.
Well, this is
don't
what I
think
was
that
going to
that's
say.
true.
This is where I think there's okay. It's very easy to see like Christians have that happens, right? Where there's like, yeah, you can say like the Vatican has a belief. But a Christian can be a Christian and go, I don't believe in that part.
Yeah.
Right? Like I mean we talk about how like
Christian is an umbrella,
Christians get
so
the
you kind of have to.
Catholic,
Like,
whatever.
that's why, yeah.
But I'm saying like
yeah,
if a Catholic goes, I don't believe in gay marriage, right? Another Catholic can go, I do.
Sure.
And it's like, okay, whatever. Nobody's just like there's not like a lot of beef there.
No.
You know what I mean?
whatsoever.
To me, and maybe this is because of propaganda, it seems like of all any Muslim people I've met, which again, like I said, everybody I've met has been very nice. I think they're all like generally great people. You know what I mean? But it seems like they are more homogenous, and they are more willing to not kowtow is the wrong word, but like defer to a more religious person and say whatever they believe, I believe. They won't go, yeah, well, I'm Muslim, like not that kind of stuff. If they're a devout Muslim, right? Of course, there's Muslims who. But my issue is, if you go to the Vatican and you go to a cardinal, right, like or the Pope, and you say, hey, I found out that there's a Catholic in my neighborhood who doesn't believe in any of the things you say. What should I do? He'd probably just say, well, you know, talk to him. Like, we believe in all these things. Like, maybe we have him come to God. I feel like if you go to Iran and you talk to, like, the head imam and you say, hey, I found a Muslim friend of mine who doesn't do any of the Muslim teachings, I feel like he's going to have a much, much more negative solution to that problem, and that's the thing.
Beheaded.
That's where the danger comes.
And you can say it's the extremist side of the Islamic religion, but
they are in control. That's what I'm saying.
They preach, right?
That's what I'm saying.
They're in control in those countries.
Who you would look back to is the extremist, but that's who controls
more-
it.
That's who controls those
That's
countries.
the power.
and
There's
that's-
more political pressure to follow.
Exactly, right.
Right.
The moderate base exists here.
Right.
There are moderate Muslims.
For sure.
Plenty of them. I mean, there's billions of them. They're not all extremists, obviously. But it does seem like the extremists kind of run the operation when it comes to...
And those are the little
Look,
pockets
so that's the-
that
that's
seem
the
like
danger.
They want to come in and spread that. And,
Right.
and that's the only one true religion.
Right.
Everybody has to follow it. So they can't live in a country where there's multiple religions. They need to push you out,
Yeah.
right? They need to push every religion out once they're here because it just starts to spread. You know, and yes, it starts out of small pockets and little things, and then it grows and grows and grows. And it's like anything else. You know, you could hide things within a small community.
Yeah. And I guess I just think
So then you
overall...
implant your people in the local government, and then up and up and up, right? Until you have some say in the total control of the government.
Yeah. Overall, I feel like it's a reasonable fear for people that I think a lot of people who are on the other side would say, that's crazy, that's not happening. And even if it was, that's racist or Islamophobic. And I just don't think it is. Like, I think they're allowed to do whatever they want to do. It feels like when they get elected here, they bring it here.
Right.
They do.
And I'm like, that doesn't make sense to me.
Shouldn't be allowed.
That's the issue. Like, I don't, there's
But
nothing
that's-
wrong with, like, I mean, I personally disagree with Sharia law, but like, if you want to practice it in your country, I don't care.
Fine. Don't
that's
bring
the
it
problem.
Go ahead.
'Cause
That's
it's
the problem
'cause
with our
it is
country,
the
though.
extreme-
That is sort of a problem. in
Our country is the melting pot, and everything's allowed.
Well, we had an identity, and then they destroyed
Right.
it to allow
Yeah,
all these
now
things,
we have no
and
more
now you
identity.
have no identity, and the idea, like, I mean, even not that, I mean, New York particularly, totally, like, I get it, you know, foundationally immigrant-ish, right? But like, at some level, doesn't it kind of stop being that? Aren't we Americans?
no.
Like,
We're not.
that whole thing has changed, right? Where it's like, yeah, I do think America benefits from immigration, and
does.
the melting pot, I think, is a good,
I agree.
is you know, beneficial.
But come here to be American.
But to a degree, like now it's like, no, we're a melting pot in the sense of
We're not. It
we want to
doesn't
be.
yeah,
matter.
you don't change.
We want to be little
You come
pockets
here
of their
and,
country.
you're still your thing. I
Right.
mean,
They're bringing their country here. They
there's
want their country
multiple
to be here.
there's
Which
multiple
drives me
senators,
crazy.
or at least I know there's definitely one because I saw the actual thing. I think Ilhan Omar said a similar thing. The other one's the Spanish from Bolivia, and she's like, I'm Bolivian before I'm American.
Which is crazy. You
And I'm like, you're a senator or a
senator?
congresswoman?
Right.
How can you say that? And it's like
That's-
because they believe, and that's supposed to be better
That's not
because
better.
America is evil
Right.
to the oppressor guy.
Right.
So anything, so you're like, yeah, well, I'm trying to change America to be better, to be more like Bolivia,
Right.
like that you fled. And it's
Right.
like, well, Whose side? Like, how can you be on that side?
that
I don't know.
just-
It's nonsensical
It's
to me.
disgusting.
But I don't know. I think there's reasonable fear of certain of these things. It's like, all right, do I think that the Islamic faith is inherently bad? No. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
I don't. Do I think that it seems
But you
like
would
the
feel
extremists
but you
rule
would
the
feel
day?
the same way about any extremist religion pushing it.
Yeah, well,
right?
you're allowed to say that about Zionists.
Right,
You're
to
allowed
say-
to go, I
yeah.
hate Jewish people because they're killing Palestinians.
Right.
But, like, you can't say, yeah, well, it does seem like kind of like all the Muslim countries hate women. Mm-hmm. Like, none of them, like, are, like, super pro-women. That seems, like, odd. Like, isn't that a fear I can have? You know what I mean? And I'm like, I have a fiance here. It's like, I don't want her to have to wear a head covering.
Right.
Do I think they're allowed to over there? Certainly.
Only 12. Actually,
Only 12
This just came up in the article I was reading. Only
And
only 12.
and they can do it here, too.
Islamic countries have.
How many
Sharia
countries
law
are
applied to-
majority Muslim?
13.
There's a lot.
There's a lot of Muslim now countries.
So 12 countries that are what majority?
Majority Sharia law?
Have Sharia law as part of their criminal law. It says half of them have Sharia law in some.
But those
Way,
12 are
shape, or
part of the
Yeah,
like
so how many
Middle
total-
Eastern.
That's what I'm trying to find.
I don't know. It just seems like,
Those are
personally, as far as religions go, there's
There's 53 major Muslim majority countries.
Yeah, but-
12 of them.
Yeah, because you got.
oh no, because
Sharia
both
law.
of those are African.
That's
That
what I'm
doesn't
saying.
really-
You got the African
yeah,
Muslim.
that doesn't
That don't count.
That doesn't count, and they're
That-
killing people
How could that
a
not
lot
count?
Oh,
because
Muslim majority countries that don't have Sharia law. How could that? How do they not count their Muslim majority?
yeah. Well, we can get into that.
I think it's the middle. It's mostly the Middle Eastern type
The
ones.
majority. But no, I agree with that. Yeah, and mostly in the Middle East, but that's not Islam as a whole. As
Well, in
the
Nigeria,
religion.
they're pushing the
Right.
Christians out, right?
Is
the Muslims-
Sudan? No, Sudan's having the whole genocide
Sudan's
right now,
having
right?
a war. Yeah.
Aren't they also doing something in?
I think it's,
in West
it's
Africa?
Nigeria where they're killing all the Christians, isn't it?
No,
I don't know.
isn't they doing something in West Africa too?
A lot of those. There's like a bunch going on in Africa right now. The Congo's got some sort of war /
Well,
genocide
there's a lot
going
of
on.
conflicts in Africa. Yeah.
Sudan's like bad apparently right now.
Never get us Sudan.
Yeah, it's Nigeria where they're killing all the Christians, burning the churches down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what. See, you guys think I'm silly for not being religious. No one's gonna burn me down.
Well, they might.
They get
turn
you
out-
They'll
anyway.
burn you down anyway.
They get you anyway.
Unless you're their religion, you're no good.
But I don't have a religion, so they can't be mad at me.
Yeah.
Yeah, they could.
Nigeria is actually the fifth most, the country with the fifth most Muslims in the world.
What's the biggest? Iraq.
Indonesia.
Really? Huh?
Indonesia,
Okay.
Pakistan, India, Bangladesh,
So
Nigeria.
if I
Iran,
accept,
Pakistan.
so if I
Wow.
accept the implication of
Pakistan.
Sharia law isn't even, you can be
Well, I didn't
majority
finish.
Muslim
I
and not.
just thought it was funny because you brought it up and yeah, I guess keep going.
Well, I'm
was just
saying
you brought it up and I just was
I
part up
accept.
to the article.
Let's say I accept that and I say, okay, so it's not Sharia law isn't the issue. Furthermore, though, it does seem like of the majority Muslim countries, how many of them? And it's like, okay, you can just blame the West for like causing instability, but it seems like they're generally kind of extreme in their beliefs. So like, yeah, I
I'll
understand
say
like it's
this.
cool to have immigrants, but when you import people who have extreme beliefs,
Right. I'll say
I don't think they stop having extreme beliefs because they're American now.
I don't know why they hate America
speaking-
more.
Generally speaking.
I mean, they should hate every other country that's not their
well,
own,
I'll tell
right?
you, we
They
could
do.
we could get into
They
that.
do
Yeah, but
hate
they
every
go,
other
but they
9/11
go
happened.
after,
We
but they
could
go
get into
after.
that, but-
No, they go after every country. They
No,
go
but
after
not like
every
they do
country.
No,
America.
we could get into that, but that's different.
They hate her in Ireland
what
too.
you were
Taking
saying.
over the streets of Dublin.
Sorry, what did
That's
you
true.
say that distracted me?
I was just saying that I'll accept
the
your Sharia law
Islams,
thing,
right? Okay, so
but it still seems like
my
there's
point about
issues
that,
and they're an
right, is what I'll
extremist
say,
relatively
correct,
religion.
Right. So if you're going to take those 12 countries that have Sharia law into their criminal law, right, and you're going to let's just label them as the extremists. I don't know exactly like how far that really stretches, right? There's a lot of people in these countries, like it's not like, but let's just say label them as the extremists, right? I don't think that like any time in which you're going to have a social hierarchy based on anything you can't control, race, religion, like things, or anything that you would be born into, like race, religion, like stuff like that, right? You it's problematic to me personally. I mean, some people are okay with it in certain countries, right? But definitely it would be incompatible with America's first statement, First
Yep.
Amendment of free religion.
I agree.
So if that's the case, then yeah, it's a problem. I think the the issue is like the majority of Muslims in America obviously are not like that. In fact, there's a lot of Muslims who were born and raised in America. So like,
Certainly, I
obviously
think,
not like
but I think a lot of the Muslims here are like the Americanized
That's right,
version,
they're Americanized
and now
version.
the first generation are not. The influx of immigration that's happened in the last 5 years, those people are just grown up Muslims who are like, I'm going to be a legit Iranian,
Right.
whatever, Palestinian, Ugandan Muslim here. It's very different than somebody who's like, yeah, my parents moved here and there was no big Muslim community. They found there was a mosque, like they still follow the faith, but they've lived here. They had me here. I grew up in American schools as an American. So yes, I believe in these, general things about God. And like, that is what I think religion in the U.S. in its best form is like, yeah, I follow the thing,
right.
like generally. And then certain things I don't do, or I don't hate groups of people because I'm supposed to, right? Like you can make the same argument for, like I said earlier, like with Catholicism or Christianity, that like, yeah, generally, I mean, gay marriage is still not accepted by the Christian faith. But, like I know we've kind of argued about this, but like I don't think the majority of Christians hate gay people. They might have used to,
Yeah.
but it works itself out of the thing when you're around it.
Yeah.
And
Long
the country just gets modernized. Like I don't believe people can keep having bad ideas, in a multicultural society. And that's good and that's beneficial. But when you have new immigrants and it's like by the millions, they don't have that Americanization.
Right.
Not only do they not have it, now because they live in a community that is totally insulated, they'll never get it. They'll never become more Americanized. They
Do you
just
think that's
took
really
whatever.
true?
Certainly.
100%.
I think that about certain communities, like Polish communities in Brooklyn, that like they moved and they were all Polish, so now they're still totally Polish.
I think they have the Irish.
Irish do. I'm saying every culture does it.
I don't know.
The only issue
No,
is
it's true.
I think the
Over a
Muslim
couple
one,
generations. I'm not sure if that's true.
No,
Like I get you can
couple
say,
generations.
You can say
Well,
the
yeah, but
people
I'm saying it
coming in
used to
now.
be.
No, but
Right, I'm
I
saying
get
it
you can say the
becomes
people
impossible.
coming in now, but like
you don't think
Give it
people
18
move
years.
now
People came
and then
here, but
live
they-
in communities?
But
for
they,
a-
but they,
for a
but they
while.
Americanized. I mean,
For a while.
when people came over, like the Polish,
Well, they tried
the
to.
Italians, the Irish, they Americanized.
I'm just saying there
more
are
so
homogenous-
than what they do now. Where they like there are people that are here for years don't learn to speak the language.
I hate that.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, because they don't need to, because they're only around people
Their own type.
of their own.
Yeah, yeah.
They're in their neighborhood, they work in their neighborhood, they stay within their people. It's like they just moved their country here.
right, and
Right.
I can accept that.
No.
That's
Take-
not
That
acceptable.
should be
They should
allowed.
come here
No,
and
no,
become an
I'm saying I
American.
could.
He's saying it
accept
says that
take,
does happen. I'm
accept
sure that
right.
happens.
For the first generation. I'm saying you think even all right. So you're saying there's a massive influx now, right? And same way there was a massive influx in the 1920s.
They said there was at least 10
or
million.
earlier, right? Early 1900s, right? There was a massive.
There's
influx.
been far more now
Right.
than
No,
even
I
then.
understand what you're saying, but my point is that there's that massive influx, and then so like now at this point, you look at the communities of people that had begun to be built up in the early 1900s, right? The Europeans, Irish, Greek, Polish, Italian, people like that, and then by now, 4 generations later, like pretty much Americanized across the board. Agreed, right?
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. So you're saying all these people are coming in now. So like, what happens 2 generations from now?
I think we're going to have an issue.
So that's my question is like why? What makes you think that this time will be different than last time?
Two
That's,
reasons.
I think is what I wanna
One,
know.
because the idea of immigration has changed in 100 years. I wasn't alive 100 years ago, but from what I gather from like, history, which fine, you can argue whoever writes it, right? But like even my great grandparents, like said they did not want to teach their kids Italian because, and same great grandparents, because they wanted their children to be Americans and like hear people speak English. It's clearly that is not expected of immigrants now.
That's right.
But-
Not only is it not expected of immigrants, if I said that, I'm a race. If I say, look, cool, come from whatever Latin American country, but like learn English because we all have to speak a common language to live in a country together,
Yeah.
I would be labeled a racist.
That's right.
Right.
I would legitimately. I mean, you know
Okay.
this. Like, I would be called
Right.
in a lot of groups, a lot of circles. I'd be called a racist for that.
Right.
And they would say they're allowed to do whatever they want. To be an American means to live in America.
Right.
I don't believe in that.
Right.
I think to be an American means something.
To be
it doesn't
American.
just mean to physically be on land in America and do whatever you want to do with whatever culture.
Right.
And the reason, so there's that difference,
I'm with
A.
you on that,
And then B, we're 100 years later, but all those cultures were much closer to A, the kind of general American culture and to each other than any of the new cultures that are generally being moved here now. Like, I think Latin American cultures, I think that other than the language, I think it's because of the and I know we're gonna argue about this because of a kind of the general shared like Christianity angle, Catholic thing. Like Mexicans and Americans don't. There's not like a ton of
No, I agree.
cultural.
I think
like
most Latin
cultural
countries-
differences that cannot be bridged.
I would say
right.
most-
But I think
Most
I think
Hispanic countries.
like I do think
in
that like
general.
Muslim majority people from Muslim majority countries, there are cultural differences that are
and
what's
day.
like the word? Yeah, night and
Night and
day.
day.
That you can't just go, oh well, in a generation that'll kind of like work itself
Balance
out.
itself
It's
out.
not just they eat this kind of food and we eat this kind of food. It's like they feel very differently about very serious things.
Right.
And and it's something that wouldn't have a blowback if it was like a couple trickle in, because then by the third generation they've been living amongst Americans in America, they assimilate.
Right.
But now like assimilation is racist and Islamophobic, and now if they come here in droves or in a as a group, like they have refugees come in, they moved an entire. I mean, this isn't Muslim, but like Somalia, 10,000 at once, right, into whatever city in the middle of the country. The whole thing, they're eating the cats. Right. He was
where was
talking
that?
about,
Yeah.
but the not that was true, but the fact that they moved, I think 10,000 Somalians wholesale, they're gonna live amongst
one
each other.
community,
They're
yeah.
not going, oh well, put 5 here so they can assimilate, put 5 here so they can assimilate.
right.
They find like either a low income or they build like
Yeah.
some version of housing. So now those Somalians are like, we're pretty much Somalian. Everybody I see every day is Somalian.
Yeah.
This is still home.
You know what I mean? So like,
That's
where's
Hawaiian
the
life
thing?
here in America?
Right. but
This
that-
is still home.
So that's why I think the
right, and I
assimilation
can-
A is not as
and I
easy,
can
and
say
B
that, and
is
I
gonna.
agree with you again for the first generation that because of those reasons that the first people who come here probably not being assimilated, right? My
Mm-hmm.
question is like kids that go to public school, interact with American media, American television, American social media.
I'll say this
have
again.
Friends from other places, like that's where I get confused. Like how is that kid, or at the very least by the time that kid has kids, how are they? Or I wouldn't even say that
Chris,
by the
Matt,
time they have kids. By the time they're an adult,
I've said the same thing.
Matt, that's
I,
where-
wait,
I
hold
feel
on.
like
I
it's
said the
exactly
same
what
thing
like
5
what I'm
times
saying
already.
now.
They do exactly the way the Hasids do. They keep it.
That's right.
They live
They
amongst
keep
themselves.
it their little culture,
have a
and
Hasidic
they
right?
school,
But they
That's
have
it.
but they have Jewish schools. They don't have schools.
I think they will certainly
But
do
they,
that.
but
I
they,
mean,
but they
they
will.
do, but
and they
they
do,
will.
and they have cultural schools for
Yeah,
everything. There's
they
a
have-
Polish school, like
Yeah.
I'm sure they have,
Yeah, but it's
Islamic
not-
schools that go on Saturday
but,
after public
but it's
school.
not. If you're saying they're coming in mass,
No, come on. The
They
Amish
don't
do it. The
have the-
Mennonites do it.
they
The
don't
Hasids
have
do it.
the
If that,
infrastructure.
if
to
it died out
handle that
generations,
right?
you
So, like,
wouldn't
you
have
to
these
assume
cultures
that
still
a
doing it.
large number of those people, they can't all go to the one
It's really just a man. Mike.
Polish school.
Matt doesn't listen to anybody.
That I hear what you're saying, but
No,
I'm
but
saying
they have their own schools.
Right.
For
He's
that.
saying they
I'm
can't.
saying they can't support all of these people coming.
He's saying
in
if a
mass.
million people move in, they're not suddenly making a Islamic school for a million people.
but
Come
here's-
on.
They're not
Here's-
wide.
here's the major
spread.
difference.
Majority
They'll
of these
teach 'em-
majority of these kids have to be going to
But
public
They'll
here's-
teach them
here's the major
somewhere in their own
difference.
They gotta be
homes.
going to public
They'll
school.
teach them in their own home.
Here's
in
the
their own
major
I
neighborhoods.
doubt it.
You can
They have to
you
have
set these
jobs.
communities up.
They work within their own communities.
You set these communities up.
Yeah.
They're majority Muslim. They
Mm-hmm.
live their lives. Maybe some of the kids start to assimilate,
Mm-hmm.
but then you also let in the fanatics that want Sharia law, and then they start to enforce it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You allow them to do whatever their Sharia law says.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So that means now they start to pull these kids back in. Right? And they say you can't do this. You can't
But I
marry
don't know
out
how
of
well that works. Because like kids tend to be rebellious. I don't know if you can scare a kid into like not going
In
on
those
a date.
cultures, you can.
1,000%.
I
You
mean-
can
In those
scare a
cultures,
kid
you
into
can.
not going on a date if you threaten them
Absolutely.
with something.
Not.
Of
I
course
don't
you could,
know.
Matt.
And
Some-
I think in
some
those
kids-
cultures,
some
they could
kids
be
are gonna be able
abusive,
to
and you're
rebel.
scared.
I
Some
think
kids are
it's
going to
going to be a
rebel.
lot of kids that's going to be able to
You think it
rebel.
is, but I mean, I'm just saying this is the way
Matt,
they do
also,
it.
if that's the
It's a-
case, what
it's
about
a
why are
slow
all these
change.
countries still thriving on the same?
Because when you have political power, it's different. This is just a mafia.
But
they
Matt,
don't have
but Matt,
political
they
like-
start
power
to
in
take
the
political
same way.
power. Don't you
In
understand?
those- in
It
those
starts.
areas.
They get people into the city council.
Yeah.
Now they elect a mayor. Now, so now
And
things.
so now the kids are scared because they think
Yeah.
the mayor is gonna punish
No,
them
because
for
No,
not
they're
doing
afraid of
it.
their
they
people.
normalize the
enforce-
beliefs of their thing, which
Exactly.
are antithetical to a lot of American things.
And
certain ones of them.
that stops the kids from going on dates. How?
It doesn't. Because
So
It's
then
not
the
that it
kids
stops
are then
kids-
assimilating.
because
I
if
don't
your
understand.
it's a weird brainwashing game.
I mean, like
From
I just don't think.
childhood.
I think you feel probably a lot like this because you were born in like
American.
a vaguely religious, not vaguely, but like a religious household. But it's not like you know,
He had
it's
freedom.
it's not indoctrinated.
He had
it's like,
freedom
it's
of
like, yes,
choice.
you're
No, but
Catholic
I know
because you're born
people-
Catholic.
I know people
No.
who didn't have that, and
Yeah, there's a
generally speaking,
handful.
they did whatever they could to disobey their parents.
Yeah,
Not
but that's
every
I mean,
kid-
okay,
not
but that's
every
like a
kid-
general- I
not-
just
first
don't-
of all,
Like,
not
that's what
every
kids
kid
do.
disobeys.
But if,
their
Right,
if
but
this
a
was
lot
the,
of
if
them-
this was the
No,
case
not-
everywhere all over the
no,
world,
that's
every
not
next
even true.
generation would be a
Would
total
change it.
flip.
But it
Exactly.
depends. No, it
why?
depends on the political attitude. Like if it's literally illegal and you're going to get your hand cut off, right? You're not going to do it. If the punishment is those guys that always stand in your corner are going to yell at you.
No, but,
No,
what if
but
the,
that's
what
the
if-
thing.
What if the
In
punishment?
those
what if
communities,
the
I'm sure
punishment
they
is
are
flogged?
dangerous.
Is that the word I'm looking for?
But
Flog
but
works.
it can't be that
Right?
widespread. Otherwise, it would be a bigger thing.
What can't be widespread?
Like he's saying,
I'm
they're
saying in
they're
their
dangerous.
communities,
I'm like,
it is
but if they were
dangerous,
as
I'm sure.
dangerous, if they're as dangerous as like the mafia in the '70s, like you would hear about it. It would be a lot more news.
Okay, how about
Because
this,
it
man?
would
How about
be
this?
more
How about this?
violent.
Man,
Man,
you-
forget
you're
about
just trying to be anti.
look. Forget about the
everything we're
violent
saying.
stuff.
That's
Just
all you're
like
trying to do.
a simple, easier example,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
It seems like American women
Mm-hmm.
generally don't wear head coverings, right? Like they
Okay.
wear a hat.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? But they're not doing the full hijab,
Sure.
right? Muslim women wear hijabs. If you ask them, they're cool with it. They don't think they're like they
Right.
don't think it's oppressive,
Right.
right? So if you grow up in a Muslim household and now you go to school and like half the girls are wearing hijabs, are you gonna like intentionally not wear one and like have your dad beat you up, or are you gonna wear a hijab?
Yeah, but that's different from Sharia law, where that's like a religious, like wearing the head covering.
But it's the
is a
same. But
religious-
Matt, I'm saying it's the
not
same
getting the-
thing. Where little by little, like now it's
Yeah.
like okay, so, and I do. Muslim women in America are more than welcome to wear hijabs. The issue comes in where it grows, and then in that community, right? That girl, somebody who's not Muslim now is like, you're not wearing a hijab. That's a problem. You're just saying you don't think that'll happen. I'm saying like it seems like that clearly would.
I'm saying it could happen. I'm questioning. What I'm questioning it is the scale, and specifically like what the impact actually is over time, when we've seen so many groups of people come here, have their own communities, have literal
Again,
mafias
all of those groups
monitor
of
those
people, though, all
communities.
of those groups of people are Western countries
Yeah.
that were like way more similar than they were different.
Right, I'm
and
questioning
now
the
you're taking
relevance
a
of that
truly
point.
entirely separate.
I'm
I mean,
questioning
dude,
the relevance
Chinatown
of that
exists. Like that's been around for a
Yeah,
long
but if you
time,
meet-
and they've always been
if-
very
but if you
Chinese.
meet like teenagers who grew up in Chinatown, you know what I mean? They speak English and listen to rap music. You know what I mean? Like,
Because
they're
yeah,
not-
but
most
I'm
other
saying there is
cultures-
clearly a
Not-
homog-
I
like
think the issue
But
is
in
that
China, they do that as well.
I think the issue is that the Muslims don't.
right, but I'm just saying like they're
the
clearly
extreme Muslims aren't coming here to assimilate to our country. That's the thought. The thought
I'm-
process is they're
I-
coming
I-
here to take
and I'm
over the
not-
country, and it starts
and I'm
out
not
small.
necessarily disagreeing
It
with
starts
you
out
or trying to
small.
disprove it. All I'm saying is
It's
they
not
can
a large
come
scale
here.
right now.
I don't know how much it's going to stop the next generation. That's what I'm saying.
You know, a girl
It
in
could stop them a lot.
I wanna
It
say-
could.
I want to say
but I'm
Utah.
questioning if it really
I think
can.
a girl in Utah was strangled by her father
Hmm.
and her mother for what was it? What did she do? She went on a date with some guy,
Yeah,
and they tried to kill her in public.
yeah.
So
That
like
happens
though,
if bad parents exist.
yeah, but like as far as an honor killing for like,
Yeah, but the reason like
But it's
the
different
reason you're
when
mentioning that is
there's
'cause
bad
clearly
parents.
It doesn't happen.
I just
very
gave you
often.
you asked for an
Very
example. I gave you an
often. I'm saying
example.
the reason, like,
yeah,
the
but you're
reason you could
relating it. But I
name
know
that
that
is
you're
because
going.
it
You're
doesn't-
going to go. There are bad parents, and like there's non-Muslim dads who kill their daughters.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that all I'm saying, I'm not, again, for the sake of the argument, I'm saying maybe you're right and there's extremists coming in, they're trying to change things. My question is, how effective can it really be when the next generation is most likely going to rebel against you because it's no longer illegal?
They're not going
And
to
they
rebel.
have kids
Matt.
around
They're
them,
not all gonna
influencing them.
rebel.
Not all of them.
Because they're going to start to
But
take
I don't
over
know,
the
'cause
school.
it just sounds like
how-
because
okay. I think I kind of get his
because
point.
they
Like,
start to take
Right.
over the schools, then everybody in the school is Muslim.
Right, and that
then
could
everybody-
happen,
and you
but
have to
until
take
it does, the Muslim
and the
kids
father
are going
doesn't
to
care
public
if he does an
school.
honor killing and goes to jail under the U.S.
You know
law
what's interesting
because
here?
he enforced
I-
his Muslim
I
law.
But this is the interesting
and then
part.
the next kid goes, well, wait, that father killed his daughter for this.
I
My father
totally
killed me."
understand what you're saying.
It's just that's what it is.
But I guess this is the interesting question,
Mm.
right? Which is, it seems like you're not implying this, but what I'm gathering is that you do believe that the better culture is the American one.
100%.
So when they come over here, kids are gonna go, well, I can believe in this bad old world culture or this new American culture.
Well, my thinking.
I just
is,
don't think that kids really feel that kind of
no.
freedom to
My-
express
my
themselves
thinking
that you
is
feel like,
it's not
especially
that.
in those cultures.
It's not that.
Yeah.
It's not that. It's not that they're going to choose. My thinking is that most of the time they're going to have to interact with American children. They just don't have. Even if you're going to say there's like a Muslim school here, Muslim schools, there's not enough. Right? It just doesn't exist. Maybe it could. To your point, sure, they could open
Man,
them up.
how long have the
but it's
Amish
not-
been around?
It's not
what I'm
happening
saying.
yet.
I mean, yes, their
Right.
communities may be shrinking a little bit now. All I'm thinking of becoming Amish.
But
me
listen,
too.
I want to convert.
I get.
Mennonite.
But how long have they been
I-
around?
no,
I mean, you know, and
I
nobody's forcing them to stay.
No,
They could
I
leave.
understand.
They get an opportunity to leave.
I
They
understand.
do.
And they
What-
decide to stay.
I
And
get
they
it.
stay.
What I'm saying is, right, they don't have the infrastructure to handle all these people, right? Eventually, they're going to have to interact with American children.
And you think they'll realize that that's better?
No.
I just don't
No,
agree
no,
with
no,
that.
No, I think that they are going to be influenced naturally as children are influenced by the kids around them. And they're going to do things that don't align with it. And then when they get older, they're going to question it because they're going to say, you know,
But why don't the
well, I
Amish
drank
do
this
that,
one time and
man?
no one found out.
Why don't the Hasidic community do that? They could all
I don't
leave.
know. I mean, they do shrink.
They could all assimilate.
They do shrink. I guess, but I think
right.
that. But I think that
also
if the,
take a look at the birth rate
but
amongst
if
Muslims.
the Muslim size,
even in this country
but
compared
if-
to Americans.
But if the Muslim
there's
community,
a reason why they're doing
I
that.
say in
if-
20 years we
if
get
the Muslim
back to this
community was
episode.
the same,
and we're talking.
We'll all be wearing hijabs.
right? Like was the same size as like the Brooklyn Hasidic Jews. That's not really a massive amount of people.
Go
You're
to
just
Mon-
not-
go to
If it
Monroe.
was like
You know
a
what?
20x
Even
amount of
if you are
Muslims than
getting it,
Jews
you're just going to continue to
world.
insist you're not getting it.
No,
let's
no,
wrap it up.
There's just more of them.
Let's
No.
just wrap it up because Matt's just going to continue to insist he's not getting it. He's just going to keep.
I'm going to
playing
bring it up to
that game.
Monroe County.
I
next
think
weekend.
I get what you're saying. I'm asking a question.
see
I'm
it.
just trying to see, you know.
I
Hey,
think
not-
they have
not
more
asking a question,
control.
you
I
just
think they
keep
have more control over the
arguing
kids than you
point
think.
that
Yeah.
the Muslims
I think your general
are
argument
growing
seems to
their
be
communities, whereas the
I
rest
think
of the
kids get
people are not.
influenced by other kids. I don't think that they need to make a conscious choice about it. I think that kids
They're
going
gonna
to
ship their
right,
kids.
but I think
Do you know-
I
do
think
you
that there's
know-
more like you going to school with like you know mixed.
Hold up. Do you know? Sorry, I mean,
No, you're
but
good.
like you were saying, like they're gonna mix in there with kids in school, like regular schools. Up in Rockland County, we have a bunch of Hasidic Jews, right? And obviously, wherever you live, zones your school. Do you know that Rockland County pays yellow school buses to take those kids from their home into Brooklyn to the schools
Yeah, I'm
because
sure
they
do.
don't blend with theirs?
that-
But,
but that
that's what's
wasn't-
going to happen
right, but
with
that-
He's
anybody
saying they
else.
can't-
That
it's
works
too
with the
slow to
Jews
make
because
Muslim
it's a
schools.
small, right?
It's-
That's a small group.
Yeah, all you have to do
It
is take
doesn't-
an old hospital worn down, you turn it into
I
a
just
Muslim
don't even think
school.
But
that
you
matters.
can't
I
fit
think
that
I
many
think
people,
I
like,
think
for
you
the
can
whole
keep.
country.
I think you can
Little by
keep
little, we'll get there.
control over kids, and just them going to school isn't going to break them
It's
of
not gonna
this.
break them.
Yeah,
It might
but
break
it's
some.
not, it's not
It
just
might-
it's the
it
whole
might-
social aspect of
it
it.
may-
Hold on,
may
I got to
break-
get my
I get what you're
flowers.
saying.
It may break some, but
Media,
every
it's
every
participate-
community a kid wants to break out of and do their own
might
thing.
not
Right,
Right,
Right, but these
exactly.
communities,
That's
but
what I'm
these
saying.
communities
So
all
they're
persist.
motivated to
But
do
every
so.
community
Matt,
that you
you're
could
missing
talk
the
about
point of the conversation. We're
persists.
saying the extremists, what
But
their
not in the
job
same
is to
size. Like
keep
the
them in.
majority of America is American,
Right.
and the reason that happened
now,
at
'cause
some
it's
point,
America.
but at some point, the majority of America was people coming in from European countries.
Trying to be American.
Right.
And again, Western,
but
all of the
also
European
naturally became some.
America, and I know
Yeah.
this is going to be the last thing because we're way over. Not even talking about Christian, because I know we had that whole argument.
Yeah.
America is a Western country.
For sure.
Every other country that you're talking about is a Western country.
Right. I know.
This
I
is the
get-
first
I-
time where
I
we
get
have
that.
millions of immigrants from
Right.
non-Western countries,
Right, and that's why
there
I'm
are
asking-
just things
that's where the question
that are
comes
Western
from.
versus non-Western.
That's
What I'm
why
saying.
I'm asking how prevalent that's actually going to be for kids growing up. In
We'll have
America.
to-
I think it's going to be
We'll have to investigate
larger
it.
and larger.
And we'll see. I mean, look, we'll see what happens.
We're gonna do
That's
a
my
podcast
question.
in
I just
10,
wanna
20 years
see-
from now.
That's
We'll see. Jobs.
all I'm questioning is, hey, how different is it really going to be from last time?
Okay.
All right.
Thanks for
Wanna lead us
listening.
out?
And as always,
Stay angry, annoyed, and amused.